Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Making Fire podcast, the podcast where two longtime besties talk about their favorite TV show, Survivor. Big episode this week. Very excited about it. But first, Riley, how has your week been? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Here at Making Fire Incorporated, we've hit a really good first milestone. We've gotten our first bit of fan mail. I have this letter here. Looks like I hand wrote this letter. I did not. It did come in the mail for me today, and it says, "Making Fire podcast. Love the show. We look forward to it every week. Thought you guys would like it. Smiley face, your fans." And we got I've got, Maddie has yet to receive, but we will get there. At this point, Maddie has yet, but it'll be good. I'm assuming it's the same thing. We've a beautiful Survivor 45 merge buff. Hello.
I love it.
So stunned. But even more exciting, I have this custom, oh, the letters are so fucked up. Hold on. This custom immunity idol bracelet made with love, of course.
I am obsessed. It looks identical to the ones on the show.
I just hope nobody with blonde hair and blue eyes made this, because then I'd have to throw it away.
Oh my
god. No, I would never throw it away. I love it.
Thank you to our fans. We love you.
Yes. I'm gonna wear this this weekend. I am hosting a Survivor mini game with my friends. We're gonna do a whole day of just Survivor. We're gonna simulate a little Survivor game. I'm gonna host because, of course, who else would host? I got the brain, I got the bronze, and I got the beauty. So perfect little Survivor host. It's gonna be really fun, and I'll maybe we'll have the winner on the podcast. Maybe that's the prize. Maybe that's the prize for winning. We can have the winner of the Survivor mini that I'm hosting.
Okay.
Come on the podcast.
Speaking of that, we do need to plan out having people on. I feel like we're deep enough in that we
have some special guests that you guys will have to meet.
Yes, we'll get to planning that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maddie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It is Christmas all around me now. My work is being decorated with Christmas. I put my Christmas tree up. But the most exciting thing going on in my life right now is all of the good content I have to watch. Not only is Survivor on, and it's so good right now, the new season of The Crown just dropped the day we're recording this.
And I did not know that. It's the last season, isn't it?
No, this is like part 1. Oh. And then they dropped the second, like technically a last season, but like a second batch of episodes in December. But there's a couple episodes out on Netflix right now. I watched the first episode. So good.
I watch it with my stepmom and my dad, texting them right now, saying we have to watch this over Thanksgiving break.
Yes, it was so good. And this weekend I will be watching the new Hunger Games movie, and I cannot wait. I am living for this Hunger Games renaissance. It was such a big part of my teenagehood, and I love all of the like TikToks and everything that I'm seeing about it. Right, legalize it, marriage.
We are in Hunger Games Renaissance. Ooh, it was a jail last summer. It's Josh Hutcherson fall. It's gonna be so good. I'm enjoying it.
I'm so excited to watch this movie. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Slay.
Yeah. So let's just jump into this episode. We have so much to talk about. I know. This is a big comeback. I didn't love last week's episode, so this one, it really like brought me back in. Not every episode can be a winner. Oh, yeah, you can speak.
Can I speak my truth?
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't hate the episode.
This week?
No. Okay. Oh. The episode? No. Okay. Guys, I liked the episode. How do I want to say this? The production of the episode was good. The characters were good. I enjoyed it. There was choices that were made like by production, like in the game, that I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. But not in like a bad, like, I don't know, not specifically talking about the auction, but even like the immunity challenge. I was like, this is really strange. I don't know how I feel, but I'm reflecting on this 24 hours post, and I'm like, it's not that I hated it. It's just I was a little thrown off by it. How about that?
It's the new era. Expect the unexpected. Anyways, thank you for speaking your truth on that. We'll get to it. So we open on the two different groups coming back from tribal. Jake is reflecting on voting Julie out and being reckless. He's really upset with himself about how he's playing, and he wants to take back control of himself and his game and get things under control. So he talks to Julie. Julie's obviously so weary of Jake now because he lied to her face, and she talks about how it's kind of like old Bello versus old Reba now.
Bella loca. I think that, yeah, we talked to an extent about this last episode. Jake's move was not great. I'm glad that he's a little reflective, not a little, I'm glad he's very reflective on the choices and understands that it was not a good move. I think he even says, he was like, it was kind of stupid for me to believe that Couture would flip. Like, why would I think she'd do that? Or like, even that she'd go to rocks. Like, that's crazy. But I'm glad he was reflective. I'm glad he's in his apology era. But yeah, I think both Julie and Jake are valid in their feelings post-tribal. If I was Julie, I'd be like, yeah, I'm concerned about you too, bestie.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have anything else to talk about in this brief little bit? I feel like not a lot happened.
I don't think a lot happened. Yeah, I'm glad that they're finally all in jury.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, then the next day, all the girlies are together under the shelter, and they're talking about how there's a majority girls at this point in the game, which is super exciting. It's 6-4 girls, boys, and they start talking about maybe starting an alliance. And as they're talking, we get a little cut to the boys. They're talking about tacos. Just living life on the beach. Living La Vida Loca.
I don't. Are you familiar with Jersey Shore?
A little, yeah.
There's this scene, and it's not the exact same, but it's the idea. There was some sort of fight before they went out for a club one night, and they were driving to the club separately. So the girls were in one van and the boys were in another. And you've probably seen this. I think it's like a meme, but it's the girls are like screaming at each other and they're fighting, and they're like blah 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 blah, whatever blah blah blah, and then it cuts to the boys' van and they're just like. That's the energy that this clip gave me. Like, obviously the girls weren't fighting, but it's the idea that the girls are doing so much. They're like, we're gonna start a girls alliance, we're gonna do like the boys are probably out there trying to start a boys alliance, blah blah blah. Is the cuts of the boys, and they're like, LOL, I want tacos, lol.
Yeah.
XD tacos, LOL, mustache. It's like my 2012 era.
I know, throwing back to the pita memes. Then we see Kelly, and she's talking about how she's into this idea of the 6 girls wanting to vote Bruce out because he's been causing her so much trouble lately.
Bruce, your literally only ally wants to get rid of your ass. You're like, I don't know what to tell you. You're in such a bad position. Kelly was trying so hard to justify keeping him. And she didn't even want him anymore.
Yeah.
For so long. And I'm like, at that point, he needs to reflect.
Yeah, definitely. So, then after the intro, a boat appears. Ooh. And they realize after reading a little bit of the note, they know it's the auction. The auction is coming. And they're excited. I was feeling the excitement. So happy it's back. So Kendra keeps reading the note, and it says that scattered in the forest are these bamboo tubes, and they have to go find them one at a time, bring them back to their own little basket. It's a little scavenger hunt, and each tube, well, they find out later. Each tube has a different amount of money in it, but they don't know that yet. So everyone takes off sprinting into the forest to find their little bamboo tubes, except Bruce. He's taking his sweet time.
Fuck you, bro. Bruce. I'm so no, because he thought he was gonna eat that up too. That he thought they were gonna use some sort of little like analogy clip. He was gonna be like, "Don't rush the race, little tortoise in the hair" moment, and he got karma. Karma gave him a kiss because why were you so slow? Why were multiple people back with multiple bamboo shoots and you hadn't even put your shoes on and gotten into the forest?
And then he's looking around the forest like, I can't find any. Yeah, because some people at that point had 3.
Like, and then he's not even going that far out, and he's not even, like, running anywhere. He's just walking through. So, obviously, that first little ring around the camp is going to be picked off, and he's just like, where are they? And then, I loved the clips of him and, like, Emily running past, finding one where he just looked and runs. Drew finding one where he just looked and runs away. Dee finding one. I'm like, you need to...
They were there.
Have some sort of...
Urgency?
I don't know. Urgency. Like... I feel like this just reflects his game a little bit. I'm like, he's just like letting it sort of, I don't know.
He doesn't feel like he's playing the game.
No,
he's doing what he wants to do.
Yes,
and not making any sort of sacrifices to like his surroundings. I'm going to play the way I want to play. How dare you play your own game? This is my game. Why would I run? I'm just going to walk. I don't need to run, but I'm going to be upset when I don't get anything. And like, I'm going to be confused when I can't find any, even though there's at least like 15 gone at this point. He's stupid.
He's stupid, and it's giving 0 vote finalist. Like, it's giving, like...
Yeah,
You described it perfectly. It feels like he's upset that people are playing around him, and he's just assuming it's his game instead of realizing that everybody else has their own prerogatives for what's going on in the game.
Yeah, I think it might have been on Twitter or something, and I saw people talking about how, but Bruce keeps making it, and it's gonna be dangerous having him as like this guy at Tribal who's made it through all of this stuff. And I'm like, tell me one thing he's done.
One thing he's done, but also Emily has made it through more than Bruce, and is making it more than Bruce.
Yeah, and clearly because he has been making it so long, they aren't seeing him as this threat because he's not one. No one. I don't think anyone thinks he's like a strong player that has a chance of winning. So it's like, what is the risk of keeping him? He's just annoying and unpredictable. But like, he keeps screwing himself over constantly. Everyone sees it, especially in this little like running part where he just like didn't. Everyone saw that he was putting 0 effort in, and no one thought it was funny. They were like confused.
Like, why would I want to reward that at the end of the game?
Exactly.
Somebody that put no agency into what they were doing. It's giving like, I feel like the production is trying to set up this story of like Bruce as an underdog, maybe through this episode specifically. I don't think prior to this he really has an underdog storyline going, but I think this episode going on, it's something we're probably going to see. But in reality, like, the underdog, rewarding the underdog at the end really only works if people perceive them like as an underdog, right? Mm-hmm. People in the game, I don't think, are perceiving Bruce as this underdog. They're perceiving Bruce as somebody who's not playing the game. That's 2 different things. And so I wouldn't see, at this point, I don't see a world in where they're going to reward Bruce just because he's won a couple immunities. Not even a couple. He has won one, and he barely won it in the first place.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wouldn't. It puts like a weird, like, it gives me a bad taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you have to try, or at least show that you're trying.
Show that you care a little.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So once they all come back, they start opening the tubes and realize that all of the amounts are drastically different. So I think D was the most with 900 something, and then Bruce had the least with like, I don't even know how much he had.
I think it was like 80. Yeah. At this point, so obviously we're gonna see the opposite occur, but I was so excited to see the auction. 15 seasons, but I just was not loving these change. Like, I don't know.
Oh, keep going.
People weren't loving them. I don't know if I hated that. Like, I wasn't like, this ruined the auction, but I don't feel like I could see what they were trying to do and what they were trying to avoid happen. I see that, and it makes sense in my head. I can understand why they did what they did, production specific being who I'm talking about. But I don't feel like it was fully developed, and I don't know if it worked 100%. At this point, at this point, pre the auction actually starting, just them opening their money, I was annoyed at the fact that I'm like, okay, this is just inherently giving people who are more athletic an advantage. Julie is not ever going to get as many tubes as Austin is going to get, right? Like, Emily is not going to get as many as Drew. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so I was like, this is inherently like unfair, because how are these people going to get an equal amount of money or enough money to even be able to bid on anything? Obviously, we see later on that doesn't mean anything, which I guess they fixed. But that was my thought at this point. I was like frustrated. I was like, this is not, how is this gonna work? I didn't know.
So I guess we can kind of just jump into the mechanics of the auction now. So I'll explain them, and then I'll get into what I personally didn't like about it. So first, Jeff explains that the last auction was season 30 in 2015, which is wild that it's been so long. And he explains right off the bat, there are no advantages, which I like. I don't, or I guess it would be different if they were mixed in. I didn't like how at one point it was like the last thing, so people just weren't spending their money, which was the problem with the auction. And why they needed to revamp it. So then Jeff explains that the first 5 items are guaranteed. There are 15 items total, but numbers 6 through 15 are up to, he grabs like a rock out of a bag, and whatever number is on that rock is how many are left. And the players don't know what it is. The auction just ends abruptly, and the person with the most money at the end loses their vote at Tribal. So I'll kind of explain what I personally didn't like about the auction. I don't really know how to fix the problem of this still, but I didn't like that it turned into a thing with like whoever just had the most money knew that they were going to be safe. Like, it kind of took the fun out of it toward the end, because it just like so clearly went in a line where like no matter what Bruce would have done at that point, unless he had bought like the fish eyes, if Austin like didn't immediately do it, there was no way for Bruce to do anything. Like, he was kind of screwed from the beginning, you know? So I don't think there was enough opportunity for the people that didn't have any money to like do and like be successful in this. Like, they were just screwed from the beginning. So that was my problem. It just turned into like not an auction. It just turned into who has the most money. Oh, you're safe.
I 100% agree. I feel like the idea of stating that there's no advantages, I think in the first season that they're doing it in 15 seasons, I think is important. Australian Survivor doesn't, they famously in the past hidden advantages in food items. So like one time somebody got like a big jar of just like sweet, oh my god, the cookies. If you're an Australian Survivor fan, you are aware, the cookie jar, and the candies, and they hide the advantages in them, so people don't know that they're bidding on an advantage. They're bidding on just like sweets, right? And oftentimes it's people like, I don't want sweets, I want like a steak. And so people aren't bidding on the sweets. And so it's usually people that are like, I don't know, I'll just give the $120 that I have, and they get it, and then they get like an idol or something, right? I feel like there are ways, and I think what you said as well, there's ways that they could better incorporate it. If they're going to have an advantage, put it in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And just say this is the only advantage, or say there's only one advantage at bid, or not even that, because then people are going to save their money until that moment. But still, like, I think there's a way that they could do it where it isn't everybody saving all of their money to the end. I agree. It just got to the point where it's whoever had the most money, which then goes back to my point that, like, how is Julie, how is a Kelly, how is an Emily gonna, like, have an amount of money that compares to an Austin or a D? Like, they were just able to instantly outbid everybody, which made it's not an auction. If people have to spend the money, they're gonna spend it.
Yeah, like the second D, so we'll get to it. I like the milkshake. She could just spend $900 on a milkshake. She's good. She's safe. But, like, it's not playing the auction.
No, it's not an auction.
Them betting all of their money. It wasn't the classic 20, 40, 60. Like, it was just hundreds of dollars on one item and no build up. They were just buying it. It was just a sale.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, kind of the novelty of a Survivor auction is, like, here is just, like, a normal charcuterie board, and this is real American money, and these people are so hungry that they are bidding $60 to get a charcuterie board and a glass of wine, or they're bidding $400 on an unknown item that they don't know could be good or bad because they're that hungry. I think that's, like, the novelty behind it. It's just seeing people go back and forth. Like, I'll start at 20, you go to 60, I go to 180. Like, I think that's what's fun. That's what's fun about it being an auction. You're right. It was just a sale. It was just a transaction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't like that it was just food. Again, if they're not going to do an idol, that's fine.
Julie's toothbrush.
Yes.
I feel like that was the only one.
Like, where were the, like, letters from home? That would have been gaggy.
I was gonna bring that up.
Letters from home, a shower. Like anything other than just food, I think would have made it a little bit more exciting. Like a bed. I know they've done that in the past where you can just sleep on an actual bed for a night. Like, things like that make it. That's what's, like, that's a Survivor auction. That's, like, the exciting. Ooh, like, you're bidding all this money. Could it be a letter from your family? Could it be a sandwich? Could it be fish eyes? I don't know. I don't know. We didn't really talk about this specifically, but the mechanic. I was watching this and I had to pause as Jeff continued to explain things about this auction. Every time he'd say something, I would have to pause it because I was like, I was like, can we just not give them $500 and let them spend it? Why are we making these people run through the forest? And then why do we have to randomly do this whole over the top? I'm gonna pull a number out of the bag. I'm gonna leave the number right here, and you guys don't know, but I know. Girl, I don't care. End it when it's gonna end. Like, I don't give a fucking damn. And, like, I understand they're doing it for continuity reasons and, like, to trust the system because, you know, there's always gonna be conspiracies. Oh, they ended it on Bruce because they didn't want Bruce to have immunity. Like, okay, no, this is always the number. But that's so over the top for no reason. Why are we taking people's votes away at the final 9? Not final 9. Is it the final 10? What number are we at? It's final. I don't remember. It was 6-4. Final 10.
Yeah.
Final 10 is crazy. Why are we taking people's votes? It actually made me mad. I was like, I guess it's Bruce's karma, but I'm still like, that is so bull at the final 10 to not have your vote. Your vote is the single-handedly most important thing that you have in the game. Single most important thing you have in the whole game.
Yeah, I don't mind, like, a little threat to keep them, like, a little fear, but I don't think that was the right way to do it. And at first, I was kind of into the whole different amounts of money thing, but I just didn't like how it played out.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it initially, but I wish it was just different. But who knows? Maybe they'll change it up again. Because also I think that kind of takes the fun out of it if every single time they know about this. I think it was a surprise because they were like, oh my God, you have so much money or whatever. But I think like it just inherently is not fun for the people who end up with the least amount of money. Like they're just so screwed.
That, and you're right, it's just not fun to watch. Like me as an audience member, I was just like,
It was only exciting because it was the first time.
For the first time, and then the first couple like items were exciting because people had money to spend. But as soon as the group sort of caught on and were like, all I have to do is spend all of my money. And then they try to excite it at the end. They're like, Kelly, this could be the last item, and if it is, you're not gonna have a vote. Jeff, if you don't put that piece of cake on the table,
I know.
I don't know what you're trying to do, but it is not working.
Yeah. So I can go through and just kind of say who wins what.
Yeah.
I wrote each of them down. So Kendra first, she buys a beer and pretzels and says cheers to her dad, but we'll get more into that later. Kelly I think it was Kelly. Kelly wins fries and a little sody pop.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. And then Emily wins our charcuterie board and wine, and she does a little happy dance. Jeff yells, "Who are you?" And Emily says, "This is the real Emily when she is fed."
Slay. I gotta look for a little booty bump. I was like, okay, Miss Emily, financial analyst, okay.
I know. Then D puts all 900 on a chocolate milkshake, which is so... I thought that was a smart... Oh, you don't like that?
I just can't imagine drinking a milkshake and like...
I was thinking like... I thought it was
milkshake
smart.
has milk in it, right? Ice cream.
Yeah.
Milk. Yeah. That's a no for me.
Okay, I think it's smart because it's a smart way to use all... Well, at this point, she was like one of the first ones to use. She just had the most money and was using it all
she just had to get rid of it.
And it was... I thought that was smart. And also, milkshakes have so many calories that I think that was a good move for her.
No, that's smart. It makes sense. I just couldn't. The idea of drinking milk.
No, I feel like I'd want to throw up at that. If like drinking a milkshake on a completely
a chocolate
stomach,
milkshake. If it was like vanilla, I'd be like, okay, maybe.
No,
but chocolate.
I'm not.
No, like I love chocolate. Don't know, but I'm just saying like chocolate, a chocolate, and then add milkshake, chocolate milkshake. The richness of the chocolate, the lactose in the milk, plus I have nothing in my stomach, plus it's like 100 degrees outside. Girl, I guess. No,
I would rather it be a chocolate milkshake than a vanilla milkshake. Anyways.
I'd rather no milkshake at all, so.
Okay. So then Katura goes next, and she gets to choose between two covered items. She goes with her gut. It's two giant fish eyes.
Huge.
She lifts it up and tries to take a little nibble, and then she's like, no, I'm good. But then Jeff says, anyone else want to buy them? Austin buys them, takes the biggest bite in
I'm gonna throw up. You have to stop.
We needed like a graphic content warning for that. That was beyond disgusting. Are you okay?
No, that fully made me gag. Your description, I didn't like watching it. I was like kind of okay, but you like describing it, like
I feel like I'm picturing it in my head again, and I hate it.
I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't love watching it. I wasn't like, yes. I was like, this is a lot for me.
No, that was
people
disgusting.
say fish eyes are really good. Like I think
he didn't
cooked
like
though,
throw up.
They were raw, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like the cooked fish eye is like.
What kind of fish is that?
I saw his mom tweeted about it.
Austin's mom?
Yes. She's been tweeting. She tweeted a picture of it. Her name is okay, I'll look it up. You keep talking.
Okay. So we'll just keep moving on. Drew gets this.
Wait. I just wanted to say that I think it was really smart. I don't think Bruce would have, but I think it was obviously he didn't end up eating all of it, but I think it was smart that Austin did bid the $100 because worst case scenario, Bruce randomly bids $80 for this because that's all he has.
I just had another idea.
Yeah.
Because you could see how much money everyone had, I think it would be so much better if people didn't know how much each other had, so then they couldn't keep track of what other people had to spend. You know?
Yeah.
Because I think that would be part of it, is like Austin probably knew, oh, I can spend this much and I'm still gonna have more money than everyone else at a certain point. I'm just gonna buy it. Like, it doesn't matter. Oh
it's
my
a
God.
ruby snapper. I don't know who that white man is.
He just caught it in Animal Crossing.
Have made it easier because I'm sure Bruce could have easily slipped in and out of nowhere, just been like, I don't know, I'll bid 80.
Yeah.
Spent all of his money, and nobody, like, who else would have, like...
Yeah, Jeff could have been like, okay, you know how much money you have, don't share how much you have with anyone else. That might have been a fun little thing. Anyways, just a thought I had.
No, wait, that could have been... Actually, wait, because then people don't know, and then you don't... Well, I guess you want, in that case, you want to spend all of your money. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah.
It's an interesting idea to play around with.
Yeah.
So next, Drew, he really wants something with carbs. He gets a bowl of candy. It's so funny.
But candy also has good calories. No, I don't... Does candy have carbs?
I don't think so.
Does candy have calories?
It's just like straight sugar. I wouldn't want a bowl of candy.
Sugar. Spice. Watch season 15 of Drag Race and you'd get that.
Oh, I thought you were referencing Sugar from Survivor.
Oh, no. I was referencing Sugar from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
Sugar. A little trotting.
Love that. Yeah. Anyways, then Austin buys some pizza. Julie gets a
pizza looked bad. Shocker.
Not appetizing. Julie gets a toothbrush, some toothpaste, and mouthwash.
It's interesting. So Maddie and this is going to be a little 180 real quick. Maddie and I have both traveled internationally, but I've gone to Africa. Maddie's gone to Europe. And it's interesting, when I was in Africa, Ghana specifically, the like international take on like American cuisine, and I never traveled. This was last summer, and so I don't know if it's the same in Europe, but it's so interesting. Like, we would like order a pizza and I'm like, oh, which I can't be shocked because I'm like, pizza is, well, like my Americanized version of pizza. I'm like, oh, why would I expect Ghana to have the same thing as American pizza? That doesn't make any sense. But I'd order it and I'd be like, oh, this is like interesting. And so then maybe have like a different perspective on like, okay, Survivor food, because you think it's probably like Fijian people making it. Like, what does the Fijian version of American pizza look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for years we've just been shitting on the pizza that they have in the rewards, and like maybe it's just like the Fijian version of things, and we just have like an Americanized view of what this should look like. I don't know.
Okay, I have two comments. One, when I was in Europe, France, and all that area, I didn't eat any American food. Also, we were so close to Italy that like I just had basically Italian
like actual food. Yeah.
And like the pizza in southern France is exactly the same as it is in southern, or just in Italy. So yeah, it was delicious. But anyways, I recently learned on another podcast, I will not share the name because this is the Making Fire podcast. I don't remember how it got brought up, but like, you know, a Cuban sandwich?
I don't know what's on it, but I know of it.
Okay. Let me just double check that it's called a Cuban sandwich.
Is it like ham?
It is, yeah. Yeah, it's...
Oh, not Google listening. I typed in Cuban and the first thing that popped up was a Cuban sandwich. Oop.
Okay. So did you... It's like a pretty famous sandwich, I feel like. It is originated from Cuba, but it was made, I don't remember what year, but basically, oh my god, I think it's, maybe the podcast was lying, because it says place of origin U.S. Florida, but I heard that it was originated in Cuba, but Cubans were making it for like American soldiers, and they were like, what would Americans like to eat? And so it's like cuisine that they made that they thought would most resemble American cuisine. So they made it for Americans, but it is technically Cuban, but it's not like Cuban culture. I thought it was like a fun little tidbit. Who knows if that's true? I didn't fact check it. I just remembered it.
Sandwich discourse will remain alive and well on the Making Fire podcast.
So next, Jake wins a chocolate cake, and he has a timer to eat it with 2 other people that he gets to pick. He picks Julie and Bruce, and I felt so bad for
Bruce
Julie.
Pissed me off.
Well, Julie had just cleaned her teeth and her mouth, and then she's immediately, not even like 2 minutes later, shoving chocolate cake in her mouth. Like,
I know it tasted funky in there.
I know. I would not have picked Julie. Well, I guess maybe because she didn't get to eat, but I would feel weird about that. Yeah, and Bruce.
Bruce pissed me off. He was taking the smallest little. I'm like, if you like, he basically asked. He was like asking to go. He was like, pick me, and then he was eating. Like, I'm like, take a fucking handful and eat it.
And at the end, Jeff's like, grab however much you can, and Jake and Julie grab it. Yeah, he just little.
Jake leaves with 2 handfuls. He, former fat kid, me, current fat kid. He got the right idea. Take the handfuls, snack on it while you're waiting. Bruce said, "Let me get a little." Bruce, be so for real right now. You're not gonna get any more food.
I hope no one gives him anything else.
Chocolate cake was probably the highest calorie thing that they probably had.
And like,
I don't know.
It felt filling, and like you got to eat it. Like,
yes.
Like Dee with the chocolate milkshake, she was just drinking it. Like, imagine getting to like chew food at that point.
Oh, Bruce be pissing me off. You know what? We need Couture on this podcast. Couture, this is a plea to get you on this podcast because we need you.
This is a safe place for you.
This is a safe place for you. Well, that's all we'll say.
So next, Kelly she manifests it, really. Mm-hmm. She ends up with a PB&J, some chips, and a Marg, Riley's fave.
Which is
random pairing.
It is a random. That's what I thought. I was like, the PB&J, like if it was like nachos or something, but the PB&J is like random.
A margarita, yeah.
I would not want a peanut butter and jelly. I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
I just feel like the peanut butter, that would be like, because then my hands are dirty and I'm like having peanut butter in my mouth. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, but you can wash it down
with the Marg. Okay.
If it was a peanut butter and jelly with nothing to drink, I would be upset. I feel like that's something you need to have something to rinse your mouth with. Anyways, so then at the end of this, Bruce ends up being the person with the highest amount left with no more items. So he loses his vote.
But Emily was really close.
Yeah, she was.
If there had been one more item, Emily would have been the one.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. There's 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe it would just be like whoever's the last person to have money in that. Because my question would be, there's 10 of them, but there was 15 items. They all spent all of their money. What happens if there's like 14 items and there was only 10 items, right? So say there was 12. Bruce gets the 11th. Emily gets the 12th. Nobody has any more money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you?
Like people were just out of money and there were more items?
What happens if there's more items and everybody's out of money?
Would just end.
Well, yeah, but then who loses their vote? Would it just be the last person who had the most amount of money?
That's a good
Like,
point.
would it be Emily? Like, if Bruce had one more and then Emily bid on something and spent the last of her money, would it still be Emily because she was the last one that had the most amount of money?
That's a good question.
I don't know. See.
Gotta ask Mr. Probst about that one. That's a good point, though.
Yeah.
So then after the auction, we go back to camp and we get a little bit of you know how you kept mixing up Kendra and Kelly?
Did I?
I think last episode you were like, I can't get them straight.
I was having a hard time, yes.
I just wrote we get a little Kelly backstory when I meant Kendra.
Okay, this was weird.
Yeah, it felt a little random.
It felt random. I don't think we usually get these little flashbacks this late into the season. So it threw me off.
I think we do. I remember. Oh my god,
Maybe
who was
like
it
Romeo
last
had
season?
one.
Who
Maybe
was
you're
it
right.
last?
Yeah.
We got a back. Oh my god, who was it? She's like a single mom, and they were at
Jamie? No,
no
Lauren.
Lauren. I couldn't remember her name.
Yes.
Yeah, Lauren got a backstory in like one of the very final episodes. She was one of the people we didn't know anything about like all game.
Yeah. Which is weird because we know a lot about Kendra. We just don't know about her like daddy issue.
Well, now we do.
So
anyways, yeah, basically she met her biological dad at 18, says he's like her inspiration for being on Survivor.
beer.
He loves beer. So
green flag in my house.
what?
You know, somebody who just really loves beer, that's a green flag to me.
I don't know.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay.
It's not a green flag.
People can't like beer? You said margaritas only in my household.
Margaritas only. I said straight tequila only in this house. Be a man. Drinking some beer. Be a man. If you don't get a strawberry margarita from Applebee's, are you really a man? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Maybe someday when we have a big enough following that, you know, it's just like a little more broad, we'll have a meetup at Applebee's. We could all get shark attacks.
Oh
or
my
like
god!
Survivor related.
You didn't. Oh my god! Did you watch Island of the Idols?
Maybe.
They had Applebee's as a reward that season.
Yes.
And my favorite is was Karishma, and she's just like, I love Applebee's. It's my favorite sit down restaurant.
Yes, I do. Remember.
Girl, that is so me coded. I
also love
Applebee's. Please sponsor us. Please sponsor us.
You
Applebee's.
have the best chicken tenders of literally anyone around.
Your appetizer platter, I like if I had one last meal, it would be the appetizer platter. Ooh. And a blended strawberry margarita because I'm a man. I'm a male.
I'm a he. I'm a him.
Contrary to popular belief, I am a man, everybody.
Even though every episode you'd say, I'm just a teenage girl. Anyways, moving on. Catch us at your local Applebee's at some point when we blow up on TikTok again. Anyways, so then Emily and Drew are talking, and Emily talks about how she isn't super close to the rest of the girls, so this all-girl alliance doesn't really make sense to her, which I totally understand.
I understand, but I'm like, I just want a girls' alliance to work in Survivor.
I know, it never does.
Bad. They never do. We've had some close calls. Well, I think I have a picture of them back there, the Black Widow Brigade somewhere. Where is it? Right there. That is a picture of the Black Widow Brigade. Successful.
I don't think this was the group to do it.
I don't think it was either.
They
I think
weren't close enough.
No, they weren't. It was like an odd, like, I want to be mad at Emily, but I'm also like, girl, no, like, you're right. It doesn't really make sense, especially because if the tribe divisions weren't as, like, strict as they are, it's so very clearly a Bella versus Reba game right now.
Yeah.
If the lines weren't drawn like that, I'm sure something could have formed, but it just doesn't make sense.
There's no way for them to trust each other either. Yeah. So anyways, Emily wants to work with Drew in that group. So she shares about the girl alliance with Drew. And Drew talks about how he likes that they want to get Bruce out because it's just fine. It's a, basic move that like is generally agreed upon.
Yeah.
And Drew talks about how he also wants to form better relationships with the girls, which just comes across as funny. But specifically Katura, he wants to get to know her better. So
Drew just has Riz.
no. I think you're maybe the first person to ever say that about Drew.
He's just like, I don't even know how to use the word Riz. I'm so sorry, not to be a boomer. He just has like Riz.
Yeah.
I'm cool, guys.
I'm just a teenage girl.
I'm just a teenage girl.
So then we see Drew, Austin, and Julie. They tell Katura, we put all of our trust in you. We will follow your lead. Who do you want to vote out?
That's so shady. That is so shady.
Know. I would be, if I were her, I would be so suspicious of that.
I would be so sus too.
Like, no, you're planning something. Anyways, obviously she wants to get Bruce out. Period.
Shocker.
So after that, we go to the immunity challenge. This is an interesting one.
Can we talk about the music leading in? Do you remember the music?
No.
It was really like orchestrated. Like it was over the top. Like I was listening to it. I was like, this is.
Oh yes,
not...
I do. I
was like, this is not the normal music when they watch. Like this is what I'm saying about the episode. I'm like, it's a great episode. The second half of it specifically, I was like, this is amazing Survivor. But I was like, there are just some weird choices that they're making.
It was
I'm
so
just like,
dramatic.
It was so dramatic, and there was parts, and I was just like, this is. I mean, I mean, you have to try. Everything has to be tried first at some point. Like you have to do it at some time. But I was like, it's weird that you're doing all of that in this episode specifically.
Yeah. So this challenge is they have to hold on to a rope at different increments over time. They'll move back, which makes it heavier. But it starts out at 1/3 of their pregame body weight, which was interesting. If they drop the rope, they lose. And Jeff basically yells at Jake the whole time to keep his arms straight or to stand correctly.
Because if I was Jeff, I would have been like, Jake, babe, you're done.
You're
More
after
than
like
once.
the 4th time.
Like, no, but like actually, genuinely, like if we're talking about logistics of the rules, if you have to consistently remind somebody, Jake should have been removed from the challenge. And I'm loving Jake, but I was like, this is too much. Keep your arms straight. That's all you got to do, bestie.
I know. Like, yeah, it's hard. That's the point. And then at the end, they end up like, a lot of people, they last a really long time. Oh, yeah. Actually, we'll circle back to the rice thing. But just on the Jake topic, he like at the very end when there's no more knots in the rope to hold on to, he tries tying it around his hand, and Jeff's like, you can't do that. It's not supposed to be comfortable. What are you doing? And he's like, oh yeah, nope, I got it. Like,
do you?
I don't think you understand.
I don't think you do, bestie. I'm so sorry.
I think after passing out however many times, he's just a little confused.
His brain is not at 100% capacity right now.
No. So back before they start the challenge, Jeff does the whole deal thing that he does every season where
I hate it.
Yeah. If so many people sit out, this time if 4 people sit out, the tribe gets a bag of rice. You have to make the decision. Jeff has said before that he wants them to like negotiate with how many people. This time they're like, fine, 4. But he didn't really give them the opportunity to negotiate this time. It felt like it moved so fast because like 2 people volunteer, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, whips a knife out, stabs it in the bottom, and rice starts spilling out, and everyone's like,
huh?
What?
Oh my god, my buddy impression coming back.
Your what?
Huh?
Oh.
No, that was... finish what you were saying, then also what I have to say. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So the point of it, Jeff wants to incentivize them to make the decision faster. He says the rice that's falling out, they're not going to get that back. So, like, the faster you make the decision, the more rice that gets saved, basically. And in the end, Drew, Dee, Katura, and Emily set it out.
I'm so sorry. This was another moment where I had to... Jeff pulled the knife out and stabbed the bag of rice. I had to pause my episode and walk away. I was watching this at like 1 a.m. last night, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was like, there is no way that Jeff Probst just pulled out a knife and stabbed this bag of rice because they weren't deciding fast enough.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I'm like,
people
I guess if you
online
guys
really
wanna...
liked it.
You liked it?
No, people online did. They were like, that's so exciting. I love like the energy. This felt like renewed Jeff. Like he seems so excited to do that.
To stab a bag? No, he needs clinical help. Baby, you're a serial killer.
Anger.
Oh.
He needs...
Remind me, I have something. Oh, I hate to be this person. I hate when people on podcasts do it. I have something I need to tell you after we're done recording. Okay. You have to remind me, violence. Remind me and I'll tell you.
Okay.
I was fully gagged. It wasn't like bad. I wasn't like, oh, I'm not like, I hate this. Oh, okay, maybe a little bit. I was just really shocked. I wasn't expecting it. So I guess it's exciting. I already hate it. I don't like the barter that it's just too late in the game for me. And this is the main con that I have with these 26-day seasons is that like it feels like they haven't been on the island that long, right? Because at this point it's been like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like a long time, but we're nearing the end game right now. We're in single digits. This is like wrapping up, and it is too late in the game, in my opinion, to be taking away people's votes, to not let people play in immunity challenges for rice, which to me is something that they should just have. Like I don't. We talked about this way back when, but I'm just not a big fan. I don't know, of just like the survival aspect of just like they need to make. What am I trying to say? They need to barter with their survival, right? I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, it's just not something that I love in the new era. But I was just, I didn't hate it. It just, I was shocked. I don't like the bartering to begin with. It's too late in the game, I feel like, for something like this to be happening. I think Chanel from 42 said this once on a podcast, that she's like, Survivor is so quick and you're constantly getting like you don't necessarily need rice. Like you really only have 14 days left. You can scrounge, like, I'm sure if you don't get another reward, whatever, but you'll have like coconuts. Like it was either rice or fire. She was like, you don't need it because it's moving so quickly, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have one comment that I saw recently. I think it was on a podcast. It was from the comment was from Chaos Cass. Icon.
Friend of the podcast.
Love her. She made a comment about the amount of days, the whole 26 days thing. And she said something that I thought was interesting because, you know, before it was 39 days. She was like, I don't necessarily think that like it needs to be 39 days, but at around the end game at this point is when in the pre-new era was when the paranoia
era, somebody might say.
Sorry, it's late. That's like really when the paranoia started to set in and things got a lot more interesting and chaotic and real survivory. And we're not getting that anymore. And I thought that was a really good point because I don't feel like yeah, exactly. It is such a short game. Things are moving so fast. I don't think you get that same paranoia, like chaos level anymore because they just don't have time to like sit in it. They're just like moving 1,000 miles a minute.
I think that's what they're trying to create. Like, I think in shortening the time frame of the game by taking away the survival aspects, they're trying to increase possible paranoia because I am sure that they're aware by shortening the game by it's 13 days that they cut off the game, that they're limiting a lot of that paranoia period and that end game like slow burn, you know? And so I'm sure that's sort of the idea behind taking away these survival supplies, but it doesn't like it just doesn't work. Like it feels like the people beat the system. If you're offering rewards at such a consistent rate where people are being fed, it doesn't matter that they don't have rice.
It's literally like every other day.
It's every other day. It's a 2-day cycle. They're gonna if they don't have food today, they're getting food tomorrow.
There's a strong chance they will. Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't work for me, and I don't see leveraging rice as.
I think the rice would have been more effective in earlier when they really didn't have food or fire and they were struggling. Like Lulu wouldn't have won the rice, but maybe if there was something earlier in the game, I think that would make more sense. But now they are like half of them at least are getting big rewards like every time, every couple days. Like, yeah, you don't really need it. So yes. So then going back to the challenge, it ends up being a showdown between Julie and Bruce, which is
interesting.
Super interesting. Not who I would have thought. Ultimately, Bruce wins. And as annoying as Bruce is, I'm so glad he won this because I didn't want it to be another just like easy vote because like obviously things could have changed, but it was so exciting that the one person that everyone agreed on was all of a sudden not able to be voted out, and he was the only person that didn't have a vote, so it was really like Bruce was just sitting there at tribal, but or like he didn't play a role in this whatsoever, which honestly I was fine with, but I just liked that it took everything off the table, including Bruce as an easy pawn or easy play. It made them play harder.
I like that too. I think it spiced things up. I mean, I was talking to my sibling earlier about this, and I don't like. I really liked Kelly, but this was such an exciting episode of Survivor. Like, I liked Kelly. I don't like Bruce. My dream world, like, I would have rather had Bruce go home just for like, I don't know, personal viewing experience. But I think the gameplay, this episode, and the editing, and sort of just everything about the second half of this episode like gave me what I needed to see, gave me what I wanted to justify sort of how things ended up happening. Like, I'm fine if Bruce getting immunity created this whole domino effect of all this exciting stuff happening, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I was happy
this
about
time.
It. I like that it just removed him from the equation completely. So that was fun. So then after the challenge, they start talking about who they're going to vote out. And Jake is on the table. And we hear from Kelly that she's worried that people might see her as part of the Bruce and Jake group and kind of understand the strings she's pulling behind the scenes, which she is correct. So Jake realizes that the vote is looking like it's going to be him. So he starts looking for the idol frantically out in the open. It was kind of funny, kind of iconic. And like, yeah, what else is he going to do? Why would he try and hide it?
No, for real. Like,
and if they know he has it,
trouble. Yeah.
Boom. It moves so fast, who cares? You know?
Like, literally.
And Drew then starts sharing his plan with people about voting Kelly out. But Dee and Julie are not into it at first and still want to vote Jake. And obviously in the end, they do end up voting Kelly. But I said, do they not see how big of a threat Kelly is? Like, I would vote her over Jake any day.
I agree.
There was no reason to vote Jake out.
There really wasn't. Jake has no movement in the game at this point. Specifically, Julie. If Julie is the one in the majority, I could understand maybe because he had voted her, but she is seated in one of the best spots in the game at this point. Jake is literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. So there is no way that Jake is going to be able to start this revolution against Julie. It'll be fine.
Exactly. It feels like Jake doesn't really have any 100% close allies.
Yeah.
He just kind of floats.
Like, I feel like pre-merge, we were getting we were getting shown this narrative that him and Bruce were really close. it doesn't seem like Jake likes Bruce. And then it seemed like he was gonna put all of his chips onto Caleb.
Mhm.
But even then, I'm like, you really only just met Caleb in the game. Like, who's to know that Caleb is gonna be your number one ally? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of been on the struggle bus for a minute, trying to like catch up. But there's kind of power in being an individual person, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Like if he lasts long enough, who's to say that he'll become an important number for some sort of flip that will happen.
Mm-hmm. Good point. So after that, we enter tribal, and we don't really know where things are going to go, but Jake's pretty confident that it's going to be him. First, Bruce needs to bring up that he's the first person in Survivor to lose his vote but win immunity. I don't care.
Do you want a fucking participation trophy?
Yeah, like, okay, you did one thing this whole game so far.
How about you vote somebody out? How about you
get back to me then?
Do some strategy.
Yeah. So next they talk about the decision to sacrifice playing the immunity challenge for the rice for the tribe, blah, blah, blah. Don't care. We've heard this 1,000 times. What was that?
I just pressed my chair thing.
I
didn't think it was gonna be that dramatic of a shift. I thought it was just gonna be a little. I fully just did a Twilight Zone Tower Terror little drop right there.
How exciting. So then Jake wants to make this pitch about how dogpiling on people at Tribal isn't really playing Survivor. There should be more of a balance between taking the easy vote, making big moves, and he doesn't want to just be someone voted out by a unanimous vote. He wants them to play the game. Do you have anything to add?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I think
it's
a good pitch. I think he's not in the best position to make a pitch like that, but I love the sentiment. I actually really enjoyed that sentiment. We'll get to this. Spoiler alert, Kelly gets voted out. I kind of loved the reactions. I feel like in this new era, we are getting a little bit of a consistent stream of people who are on the bottom and kind of just give up, like they're on the bottom. I'm kind of loving the fighting back this season. Giving up and really trying to push his way up from the bottom. Emily pushing her way up from the bottom. I really like that. And even Kelly, after being voted out, like, I'm so sick of this narrative of people getting blindsided and being like, oh, this is such a great move. Like, you guys really did that. Instead of being like, why did you do that?
Yeah. Okay, we'll get there.
Really upset. We'll get there. But I liked his sentiment. I liked Jake's sentiment.
I did too. So then we get to the vote, and Jake plays a shot in the dark. He's not safe. You know, it happens. Didn't really matter, though, in the end. So in the end, Kelly is voted out, and she's salty and upset. Kendra's sobbing. It's uncomfortable.
Kendra sobbing is killing me.
They cut to her so many times. Kelly, why did you do that? You did that? I can't wait. I'm so glad she's a jury member.
Me too. I ate that up. I'm not gonna lie. Her forgetting her torch and then having to come back and be like, I don't even have my torch.
Yeah. She did not see that coming. I loved it.
Loved it so much. Again, I loved Kelly. I thought she was a really intriguing character. It was so good. It was so juicy. I was like, this is the reality TV stand in me. I'm like, oh, I love somebody's dreams get ripped away from them. It was so good. And nobody saw it. I didn't even see it coming. I fully thought that they were going to just go through with Jake. And I was like, oh my God.
I didn't see it coming either.
And I just feel it. And he said, Jake. And I went, that next one's going to be Kelly. And then it was. And I was like, oh my God.
The dramatic effect. Yeah.
Oh, it was
I loved, like, everyone getting up to hug Kelly, and she's like, did you vote me? And Drew's like, did you vote me? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, I did. I'm so sorry. Like,
I vote her out. I for sure just voted you. Get that torch and get your ass out of here. Oh, it was so good.
That one was me. Like, yeah.
I loved Jake's reaction. He went, whoa! And then he went, "Oh, sorry." Whoa.
I love
Girl, it was so dramatic. Everything about it. It was good. It was perfect. Picture perfect trouble.
When it switched and started being Kelly votes, he was also like, "This is Survivor. We're playing Survivor."
If you don't sit the hell down and shut the... Oh. Anyway.
So, anyways, that wraps up the episode. Next episode, we see that 3 people lose their vote. I said, come on, Jeff, let the people play.
I didn't watch the... Explain it to me. I didn't... Is that all it says? I didn't watch the...
Yeah, basically they get split up into like 3 groups in the challenge, and 3 people lose their vote.
No, this... Oh my god. They are doing... I'm so sorry. Production is doing everything they possibly can to ruin this season, and the cast is saying, no, babe. The cast is saying, we're going to do what we need to do to make this the best season of the new era, and production is saying, we're going to do everything to try to stop that from happening.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the production has made a lot of questionable choices this episode, this season, but the cast is continuously like reeling me back in and making it fun. So I have faith. I think it's probably gonna end bad either way. Like that just hearing that is pissing me off, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this episode of the Making Fire podcast. I think that this is episode 10.
Of the Making Fire podcast or of the TV show?
Of the Making Fire podcast. It was episode 8. I know. So exciting.
We did it.
We did it. We're done.
That's it. No more.
So if you like this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that little bell to get it delivered right to your phone notifications. I don't even think Riley has that on. Big fan. Riley doesn't even watch the podcast. I'll say it.
You only watch it because you edit it.
I listen to it after sometimes too.
Sometimes.
It's more than you do.
True.
At least in terms of listening. Because Riley has been on top of posting the clips more.
True.
And
not this week. Last week was good though.
It's okay. I was Robo Voice last week. Anyways, so if you want to watch our fire clips that Riley edits so well,
that was good.
Oh, thank you.
You said our fire clips. Ooh.
Okay. Anyways, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Making Fire Pod. Please support us.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Bye.